Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick. This is Aiden. Hey, where?
Everybody.
Bye-bye. 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 Say hello to everybody in YouTube. That's right, Lulu. So somebody had asked me about the challenge of going to Mount Whitney. I just took a group to Mount Whitney as part of my 2023 Dr. Rick hiking excursions. I set very high goals to have me moving forward and keep me motivated to attack those goals. Because, as everyone knows, if you just diet and exercise without a cause or without a goal, it gets to be really boring, especially if you're on a caloric restriction, which most of us are, and or you're trying to induce muscle damage. Because that's what you're doing with nutrition is most people have to cut back because most of us are overweight. Or we have good weight but no muscle and all fat. And then the balance is off. Or in the form of exercise, we're usually intentionally sedentary because of school or work and pushing the paradigm with that kind of 50-hour work week. It might be good for your bank account or your retirement, but it's not good for your health. So it has to be balance, and the scope or the landscape of what it looks like to work or earn a living now is totally different than when I was a kid. I think there's more intentional sedentary lifestyle today than before, and it's being accepted as being okay, when in actuality you're in for a rude awakening, because the likelihood is by the time you get that accumulated wealth, you'll be so disease laden that it'll be almost impossible to go backwards. You lost your youth. And I do think that you can maintain that. I am a living testament to that. I started exercising when I was in my teens, and I've maintained it. I've fallen from grace occasionally during the decades, but now at 60, I think I'm ahead of the curve. I still have a lot of work before I get to 70, 80, hopefully 90. But the idea is that I don't want to sustain disease. I have a couple of things like high blood pressure that has been kicking my ass, and I've tapped out by taking a medicine because I just can't seem to dial that in, but that's okay. Eventually I'll get off the medicine. Same thing with cholesterol, and I'll eventually give you my story on my cardiac window. But for the purposes of this, I wanted to let you guys know how I trained for Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney is the highest point on the contiguous U.S. in the lower 48, and it's 14,505 feet. And it was one of the nastiest hikes I've ever taken before. But in hindsight or retrospect, I will not give up my experience with the team that I went with. It's in stages because the length of the journey from trailhead to summit is so long that I don't suggest that anybody do that in one day. Go up, summit, come down. Especially this year, 2023, there is still snow from the upper camp to the summit, which is about 4 miles going upward. And that just changes the risk factors involved. I think now that it's August, I believe most of the ice bridges have collapsed. The snow is going away, and you can actually see scree, or you can see soil. So when you see soil, it's an easier ascent. But I do feel that the universe helped my team because there were some shortcuts. Instead of taking the 99 switchbacks, we went straight up. We had to take crampons and ice axe and be very careful. But I think the challenge was there to tolerate the cold, sleep over in the cold at 12,000 feet, summit, come back down, take a rest, and then head all the way down to the trailhead, which was 100 degrees at 8,000 feet. So you have 100 degrees at 8,000 feet, challenging, especially with dehydration and overheating. Then you had the temperature at 12,000 feet where we had to wait overnight and get prepared for the next day's summit. There were many obstacles that were being presented to my team and myself, and I thought, oof, I'm not going to be able to do this, but I still kept it as a goal and attacked it, and I'm very proud of my team. I'm very Team, I'm very proud of what I was able to achieve. And I don't know what we're going to be doing for next year. Probably off continent. I think Denali is in the scopes. It's just going to need more time. I will wrap my head around it and probably design something soon. But for those of you who want to share stories, my team that I took will be going, most of us will be going to Devil's Lake. That's an easy excursion, no altitude. It's actually one of the most picturesque places if you've never been outside of Chicago or Illinois. It's 3 hours from my office in Hoffman Estates, and it's just beautiful. If you want to camp, cool. I've reserved 20 spots for camping sites, all tents. Or if you just want to stay in a hotel, the Wisconsin Dells is down the street and there's local hotels. So, check out my website for an invite or at least to sign up and then start training now. That's why I do these things, is to keep me engaged in exercise, some form of cardiovascular fitness or zone 2 training, and then also pushing the envelope with what I love, which is muscle and resistance. That's VO2 max or zone 5 training. So if you don't know what that means, zone 2, zone 5, VO2 max, 1 rep maximums, then you really should get a coach on your team that knows this language, because I think the more different languages you speak in the exercise world or the longevity world, the higher your chances to succeed at getting to that point, whether it's 100 years of age and participating in Peter Attia's Centenarian Olympics, or you just want to beat disease. I think disease is reversible. Even if you've gained way too much weight compared to like high school, it's okay. I had one guy that came in and he said he is now at high school weight, but he's emaciated, or not emaciated, but he's sarcopenic. That means you've lost muscle mass. And that is one way to get to high school weight, but you'll be very weak. That's called dynapenia, when you don't have any strength, versus sarcopenia when you don't have any muscle. No muscle, no strength. It's not a great way to get to high school weight. And it's important to maintain muscle strength, pliability, jumping height, hand strength or hand grip. All those things keep us independent. If you believe in the blue zones, that we should maintain a family-based unit, meaning sense of belonging to a family, should maintain some form of healthy nutrition, and you should really be active in addition to getting good sleep. All those things are the building blocks for maintaining disease-free states. And why do I bring it up is because that brings me back to why I hike. I did this hike because I just needed to challenge myself. I also love the expressions on the faces of my team when everybody gets to summit. But I also love the expressions on my team as everybody trains. There's an energy, there's an enthusiasm, there's I want to do this. And then when they commit, when anybody commits, then you'll also buy into having some form of caloric restriction or just some form of healthy nutrition. Because you're training so hard for that goal that you figure, I'm not going to abuse my diet, maybe once in a while, but not that often, versus not having a goal at all and just saying, okay, there's another party. It's Thursday, time to party, and you drink until you're guilty or you eat until you're guilty, paying it backwards. I'd rather have my patients pay it forwards and look at a goal, attain a bunch of kick-ass training, and then celebrate. Then you have room to celebrate after attaining the goal, or at least making it to that destination. You can have room to celebrate. You can go off without feeling guilty, and you can get right back to it because you know the body has tasted health. So when you deviate from health and go back to bad habits, your body will feel it, and you'll immediately think or sense, I don't like that. I'm getting back on. And then people seek me out again. So my practice is hybrid. So I don't take medical insurance because I don't want to be restricted to timing when I'm with my patients. And I believe it takes a lot of time to architect a way out of disease. And for that reason, I don't take insurance, but at the same time, I have to make ends meet. And I think that what we charge at this point in time for a 1.5 to 2 hour consult is fair compared to what your medical doctor charges for the insurance. You'll be surprised if you read your bills. Some doctors will spend 10 minutes to 15 minutes and charge you $250, $275 and give you crap, versus what I do. And I'm there even after you leave, still putting together a narrative, designing stuff till our next visit. And I'm also doing that before our visit. So technically I spend more than 1.5 to 2 hours just for your success. So please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'll be doing these things off the cuff, hopefully not editing too much. I don't have the bandwidth or the legs to do a lot of research like some of my colleagues that I love watching on YouTube and I love reading about or subscribing to, but I can give you my point of view. My point of view, the real world point of view, will probably be able to interpret where you're supposed to go with all the data-driven information, what works, what doesn't work. And if I can shortcut that or hack it for you, then you get there faster with higher success rates. So try not to do it on your own. A lot of information is out there and you have to know who to listen to and how to interpret it. Now, if you can listen to Andrew Huberman or Peter Attia 1 to 2 hour podcast, great. But I find myself even listening and taking a lot of notes. So, and I have high training, educational I've been going to school for 26 years. So I'm in the 26th grade and I can get paid like a high schooler, but doesn't matter. So if you cannot stand listening that long and trying to interpret all the data, come to me. I'll be doing that moving forward, trying to be the sage for all these other gurus. Hopefully it gives you a couple of ideas. Please consider subscribing or being a patient with me at Herbal 411. Sign up for the hike in November. Even if you're not interested, if you have nothing else to do, at least you see the fall colors of Wisconsin and look over a cool ass bluff in the morning. Thanks for watching. I'll see you online.